Hey guys, welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel where we cover all things crypto and crypto mining. So today's video is going to be about Gala Games. So I'm going to give you some of the new stuff that's been coming out, my thoughts on what I like, what I don't like, and overall what I think about the project. So if you're unfamiliar, Gala Games, or Gala, should just call it now, is trying to be essentially like the Steam for crypto gaming. On top of other things, they're actually turning into more like an entertainment company. They're also venturing into music and movies. We'll touch a little bit about that later. But here's their website here. So currently they have a good amount of games actually in development. One of the things I do like about them is that it's not just one game that you're investing in if you were to invest in this. A lot of the other projects are just that singular game. This is a hub. They got a lot of games in development that are all concurrently in development, and they're looking pretty good. So a lot of these games are actually pretty good games overall, even taking away the blockchain element. Um, so they do have an ecosystem already. They've been selling the NFTs for a lot of their games that have been in development for well over a year. They do have one full game that's been out for a while, which is Townstar. It's kind of like a Farmville type game, not really my thing. One game that got me interested is what got me started was Spider Tanks. So if you go on their website, you'll be able to see a lot of the NFTs that they have for sale for the different games. These are for like Spider Tanks. You're able to purchase them on here directly through their website, and it's an NFT that you actually own, that you can, that you actually do own it. You can actually put it up for sale. It is integrated with OpenSea and stuff now, so you can sell it. Again, they have them for every game that they have in development right now, which is pretty cool. Um, what else we got? So this is a list of all the games they have in development, and it's pretty widespread. So they have like first-person shooters, third-person shooters, MMOs, card games, simulator games. They have this Walking Dead survival MMORPG, which is pretty cool that they actually have these licensing deals with these big companies. That says a lot. Um, so let's talk about. Gonna do something a little different. Gonna actually talk about the things I do not like first, right? So liking this part so far, let's talk about what we don't like. The tokenomics. This is one part that they don't really discuss a whole lot. There's not really a whole lot of info on it. We'll go over the basics. On here, it lists the total supply is 35 billion. It's actually listed as being 50 billion. The current circulating supply is about 7 billion. So currently, about 15 of the percent of the supply is out. Um, Unlike most other projects, a lot of the other projects, we know how the tokenomics are breaking down. Like if the team has any, if any were like, like ICO, IDO kind of things, pre-mine, things of that sort. We don't really have a whole clue as far as what's going on with the tokenomics with them. Um, they kind of keep it under wraps. They don't really talk about it. Like they do a lot of interviews, a lot of promo, and they won't comment on any on price action, or their overall tokenomics. They don't really touch it. Their big thing is just creating games that people want to play. But for people who want to invest, this is the type of stuff we want to know. And unfortunately, we don't really know a whole lot. The only thing we do know, again, is the total supply, the circulating supply, and the only thing that is out is that they do have like a halving essentially, and this is a yearly thing. So you can see down here, currently this is last year's, the 17 million. So this is how many get dumped pretty much every day. So this is what gets released every day, I should say. As of last year, it was 17 million. So now it's currently the 8.5 million. And then every year, every July, it's going to go down by half. So the amount that's coming out is going to reduce drastically over the next few years. You can see back in 2019 that it was 68 million that were coming out a day. So it's already dropped pretty significantly. But this is one thing I wish they would be more transparent about. Like if we could see how much, the team has, and I'm sure that might have something to do with the fact that they don't disclose it, because I'm sure the development costs are like astronomical, especially the amount they spend on advertisement. These like in the Galaverse, stage promo things that they do. They've been doing like these big concert things pretty cool looking, but I'm sure it costs a ton. But I just wish they were more transparent with that. Um, Another thing I'm not a huge fan of, they have a ton of NFTs. Like, almost to the point where it's like too many. Like I'm gonna focus more just on spider tanks because that's the one I'm most familiar with. But they have a ton of the individual tanks, the weapons. You can buy the maps as NFTs. They have the nodes as NFTs, um, and it's just a lot. And a lot of these prices are pretty crazy. Like if you look at the prices for the maps, which again there is going to be some form of like passive income side to it. They kind of have a light paper out regarding that, but nothing really, like we don't know how it's going to play out until it actually comes out. So again, look at these. It's crazy. Yes, this is 15 million. Um, Again, not everything is this crazy, but it's just crazy to think that people have been purchasing these at like 200,000 tokens. Um, it's crazy. There's so many different tiers, so many different parts, and they've been selling these things for well over a year now. Like when I first bought a tank, it was last year when they did the first big open beta. Um, is pretty crazy, especially for a lot of these rare ones. They have different tiers, so some of these prices are outrageous, but not everything is that expensive. I just have it sorted that way. So if we go on the low to high, you can see down here, you can get a regular common body tank. These are 2,000 Gala tokens, so it's not as bad. Um, but yeah, so that's one of the drawbacks. Another big thing is that there is no actual white paper, right? This is usually like Crypto 101. You can see the white paper, what their goals are, dates, etc., or future plans. There's no real white paper. I think a lot of it is they're just still kind of like, again, their focus is creating the games, right? And then eventually the tokenomics. So that's another part that's not too hot right now. They haven't really figured out. In reality, no crypto blockchain game has figured out a good overall tokenomic system. Um, we can look at like things like Axie Infinity, which was the hype game last year. In the bull market, everything looked good, but we found out that it really wasn't sustainable, especially not in the bear market. These guys also, their first foray into this was a Townstar. Um, and overall, theirs didn't work too well either. It was more of pretty much whoever spends the most money is going to earn the most money kind of thing. So I believe they're reworking all the tokenomics for it. But to me, in a sense, that was a dud. They're gonna try something new with spider tanks. This is gonna be like generation 2 of their tokenomics, which comes out tomorrow. Actually, the official drop is tomorrow, so we'll actually see what's going on with that, how it's gonna work. Um, the one thing that I have noticed is that they're kind of changing their verbiage. Instead of play to earn, they're calling it more play and earn. So the focus isn't necessarily going to be on this crazy passive income or anything like that. I think right now the key thing is to have a sustainable economy and then go from there. Um, so that's the goal there. So now we'll talk about some of the things I do like. One of the big things is that their CEO was the co-founder of Zynga Games. If you're unfamiliar with them, they were the guys who created the like that Facebook Farmville game, those like mobile games that people were like obsessed with a while back. So it's somebody who does have a lot of background in this space, and I think eventually that's going to be something huge if they ever get into like that mobile arena. Right now, these games are on PC. Um, I think Townstar was browser based, and I believe one of the games they have in development is listed as being a mobile game. I could see Spider Tanks eventually because the graphics aren't like anything crazy. There's something that definitely could be put onto a mobile game. And I think once they figure the tokenomics and put them on mobile, that'll be the huge catalyst for them. But again, that's gonna be something that's down the line. Right now, they're focusing on just getting this game out. Um, on their website, I think these are kind of outdated because I want to say, like for example, the team members it's listing as 90 plus. I believe I heard him one of the interviews saying that they're over 200 now. But they do have some milestones on here. Their most expensive NFT sold was $3 million. Total NFT sold was 26,000. Again, I'm pretty sure this is outdated. The one that stood out to me though was this guy, 1.3 million monthly active users. That's a good sign. And especially if this is outdated, if this is currently higher, which is probably going to increase quite a bit after tomorrow when this thing does go live. So that to me is something good. Another big thing that came out, that was big when it came out, was their integration with OpenSea. Actually being able to like sell your things on something outside of their Gala store. Their Gala store is way overpriced. Anything you can find on the Gala store that you can find on here is going to be significantly cheaper on OpenSea. So if Spider Tanks or any of these games are something you're looking at and it's on OpenSea, your best bet's going to be OpenSea. The drawback, though, versus purchasing on the Gala Games website is that a lot of these releases are limited. So if there's anything that you think is going to sell out, it may sell out here and end up being more on here. But if it's something that doesn't, that they have a huge supply of, it's going to definitely be cheaper on OpenSea. Um, that was actually initially when this thing first came out, before they had that OpenSea integration. I do want to touch on this real quick because this is something that did kind of bother me. The prices that they have listed here were based on USD value of the Gala token. So, like for example, what I noticed when I had bought my original Spider Tanks was that, let's say they were 2,000 tokens at the time that I bought them. But then the price increased, we got some appreciation on the Gala token. Let's say it went up 25%. So now instead of the price of that Spider Tank going up and the amount of tokens, it was actually going down because of that USD value. So now, if somebody new were coming in, they were able to purchase that same NFT. Instead of it being 2,000 Gala, it was now, 1,500 Gala. So it's kind of weird that they did it based off of that USD value. I think it should have just remained at what that value is. I kind of see their point there, but that was something that was a little frustrating. But now with this OpenSea integration, it doesn't really matter because the price will be reflected on here. This will be more the actual street value of it. Another big plus is just the pure amount of games and the amount of quality looking games. Like, I would recommend you guys checking out some of the trailers if you haven't, especially for like this game. To me is awesome looking. Even again, taking away the blockchain aspect, look up Superior. This is going to be something that's big. Um, for me personally, I like first person shooters, so I'm a little biased. Grit is another one that's going to have, good potential. This Walking Dead game, a lot of people are big fans of that. Mirandus is another one. I think this is going to be one of their biggest games. It is a huge game. It's a fantasy RPG. A lot of cool NFTs out. This is another one if you're a big, first-person shooter fan. Last Expedition looked awesome as well. And then Spider Tanks, which is a fun game actually. Played the beta. When I played the beta and got in, that's what kind of got me hooked on them. It was actually a legit good fun game. Um, what else? Another big thing is for some of these games. So Grit, for example, is going to be on the Epic Game Store. So this integration with Epic Games, huge. Like them getting into that ecosystem is huge. Um, there's no other way to put it. So we'll see how Grid does. Another big news item was Superior, because they are listed on Steam. The crazy part here is because of Steam's stance on NFTs. They're huge on, they made a statement, no NFTs on our platform, no nothing crypto, nothing blockchain. They didn't want any of that. So when this was listed on here, that was a pretty big surprise because this is going to have NFTs. As a matter of fact, they have NFTs in the store for them already. So I'm curious as to if they're changing their mind on it or what exactly is going on there. But to me, this is huge, huge news. So the fact that they're getting integration into these platforms speaks volumes. Another big thing that's happened for them is this partnership that they had with DreamWorks. So they're going to release some of their Vox NFTs, um, and their integrations with Trolls specifically is what this collab is going to be. Which again is huge that they're able to get these licensing deals. This is huge for the video game space. So we'll see how that goes. And then Spider Tank's releasing tomorrow, October 31st, releasing on Halloween, and the whole play to earn aspect. So we're going to really get a good taste of what the new tokenomics model is going to be, how that's gonna work exactly. We'll start saying I'm gonna start playing with it. I have my NFTs again that I purchased last year, so I'll start messing around with it, see if there's any like passive income possibility there. As far as playing the game, I'll be playing the game, but I'm not gonna be sitting here for like 4 hours a day playing it. I'm able to play it occasionally. More interested to see if there's any passive income possibility by owning the tanks. Um, but their biggest challenge though is definitely gonna be the tokenomics. Hopefully, this iteration of it with spider tanks and these silk tokens, that they're able to figure it out. And I think that's going to be their biggest challenge is just being able to balance that economy with finding a way where you can, earn a little bit and play a little bit, but not have the focus for like that's kind of what happened with Axie is the focus being on just like grinding and bots and botting and just dumping the token. And that's what kind of killed that whole game, right? So if they can actually find a viable way to keep it sustainable, that's going to be huge. And I think the biggest thing is them just keeping it basic. I think a lot of these companies are focusing, oh, we're going to come up with this way for, this big model for people to make all this money. I think that's the wrong model. I think keeping it basic, just being able to own the NFTs, sell them, and if Gala takes a portion of those royalties, that'll be more than enough for them to be able to sustain the development of the game, for them to make money, and for other companies to start seeing that possibility. Because, I mean, when you really think about it, so a lot of these games already have. You play Call of Duty, you play Overwatch, what do? You have to use actual money to buy their currency, which is the same as crypto, in order to buy the skins. The difference being is that they would be able to make a boatload more money on those royalty fees, on those transactions. So let's say I own the skin, I sell the skin on their platform, they take a portion of those royalties. That way they're not only getting money from that NFT, that initial sale, but then they're getting a portion of every sale again after that. Those transactions will add up huge. If companies were to see that, I think this would be the big way that this gets integrated into a lot of other platforms. And I think they just need to keep it basic like that. Like that alone, like especially like Fortnite, for example. My son spends so much money on these freaking on the Fortnite tokens or whatever the hell they're called, and spends all these money on skins. He's been playing for years now. They would have made so much money on just the fact that he would be able to sell these skins. Somebody else, buys and sells. The amount of transaction volume would be huge. Even them just getting like 3 to 5% or whatever they want to charge would be huge. Because right now there's no way to do that, right? I've seen people sell their accounts and stuff like that, but I mean, that's against the TOS, the terms of service. They can get their account banned from that and lose everything they have, right? Because in reality, you don't really own them. They're linked to that account that can get banned at any time. Versus with this, you actually will own that item. You have full ownership of it. You can sell it if you want, you can upgrade, you can do whatever you want with it because you actually own it. And this to me is going to be the model that works. Instead of focusing on all these crazy things like, oh, we're going to make this huge economy where people are going to grind, because a lot of times that's going to be what ruins the games. And I think that's a big part of why people are so against crypto gaming as a whole, because they're worried about that. They're worried about people just, literally just grinding, just sitting there playing, not really playing the game, but just doing it just to grind to get more coins or tokens and ruining the overall gameplay, as well as like the addition of bots doing that and all that kind of stuff. And I think that is what'll ruin it. But if they just keep it basic, I think they'll be successful. And they have a lot of other things in the pipeline. They're actually working on their own chain as well. I think right now it's called like Project Geary. That should be debuting pretty soon, I think. I think it's going to be integrated with Spider Tanks now, actually. I got to look more into that. And that's touching on just the game side. I'm not even really talking about the two other huge things, which is the Gala music and the Gala films. So they're selling music as NFTs, films as NFTs. So that's why they're trying to get away from that like Gala Games talk. It's more just Gala now because it's becoming like an entertainment company. So overall, there are some negatives, but overall, definitely bullish on it. Not financial advice. I have no affiliation with Gala, no sponsorships, nothing like that. This is just a project that, out of all the gaming projects, to me is definitely the one that's going to be the one to survive. They have so many good games. Um, Again, it's more than just one game. Like a lot of these other games, like Illuvium or Big Time with their NFTs, it's just that one game. Right here, it's a whole hub of awesome looking games, like all over the spectrum. And especially if they start getting a lot of these games on mobile, that is going to be huge. So I think the price potential is definitely there. Right now, they actually just had a pump today. I don't know what the heck that came from. I'm assuming it might be from the Spider Tanks game that's coming out tomorrow. People, getting hyped on that. But it had been sitting at this 3 cent range for the longest, and the all-time high was what, 74 cents back in November. So that's a good from that like 4 cent, what? It's like a 18x if it gets to all-time high. Even if it only gets to like 50 cents. That's what, a 12x from here? Not bad at all. I mean, they have the Pumponomics. Again, their tokenomics do kind of suck though. The inflation sucks. The fact that it's hidden kind of sucks. But they have a lot of pump potential. They have, a lot of people on their socials. Their community is super active. And a lot of the times, that's more important than the fundamentals. It's just the pumponomics, as they say. So again, it's a project that I'm very bullish on, especially if there's a possibility for passive income, even more bullish. And yeah, these are my thoughts on it. So hopefully you guys learned something, learned a little bit about something aside from mining. This is more of a passive income thing. This is the crypto side of what the channel is going to be. It'll be other aspects, not just mining, but everything's going to be kind of from the mining perspective, and that was the purpose of this. So hopefully you did learn something about the project and what's coming up. Again, please comment, put what you think of it, like and subscribe to the channel, guys. So again, hopefully you learned something, got some value in the video, and hopefully you enjoyed watching, and I'm out.